Peerless Dao Yuan, the strange disease of the master and the counterattack of the female Daoist. Chapter 1, the sickly girl and the immortal Daoist. Liang Ai, the daughter of Liang Cheng's Taishao mansion, has been frail and sickly since she was a child, delicate and petite, and has a gentle personality. Her parents were distressed, lest she be exposed to the slightest wind and sun. One day, a Daoist with immortal wind bones passed in front of the mansion, and there was an unfathomable mystery hidden between his eyebrows. Seeing that she was sick and haggard, the Daoist frightened the Taishao couple into hurriedly deciding to send her to a secret Daoist temple on Yunwu mountain to become a little Daoist priest, in order to recuperate her body and enlighten her mind. Reluctantly, Ai left the house and stepped into the valley covered in clouds and mist, beginning her 10-year covenant with Taoism. Chapter 2 Girl's Growth, the female Taoist on the Cloud Mountain. 10 years have passed like a white horse, and the once sick and weak Ai has become a heroic girl. She learned talismans, formations, and alchemy, and practiced penances in the Yunwu mountains all day long, gradually becoming stronger and stronger, and her temperament was more agile and resolute. Her master's face is like a crown of jade, her eyebrows are clear, and her expression is always indifferent. On weekdays, he doesn't talk much, and only in the dead of night will he talk to Ai with a smile. Ai respects her teacher very much, and she never thought that this master-apprentice relationship would change dramatically due to a strange illness. Chapter 3 A strange disease comes, the mutation of the master. One night, the master suddenly had a strange look on his face, with a crazy light flashing in his eyes. He pulled Linger into the bed and begged, "Linger, the master has contracted a strange disease. Are you willing to help me?" Ai panicked, but seeing the earnestness and helplessness in Shaizan's eyes, she simply nodded, "Yes." 3 months later, unusual news came from the mountains. The lower abdomen of the master actually bulged slightly. Ai was dumbfounded. She contracted this disease herself. Chapter 4 Dilemmas and Emotions, Inescapable Bonds. Ai wanted to sneak away, but was stopped by Shaizan, who looked affectionately and suddenly said softly, "Ai, do you really want to abandon our father and daughter?" Ai was stunned, blushing and heartbeat, and hurriedly smiled, "How can it be?" Since then, Shaizan's personality has become extremely gentle, and he will even talk to Ai in the middle of the night, and even propose to marry her, which shocks Ai. Master Zun smiled softly, "Want to escape?" "It's late." Ai panicked in her heart, but found that she was gradually attracted by this persistence in love, and began to rethink the bond between herself and her master. Chapter 5 Heroic Posture on the Horseback, the first heart of the male protagonist. One day, Ai sat on the back of a horse in a heroic posture, looking back and smiling, attracting the male protagonist, a personable, cold but enthusiastic swordsman Qi Mocking. Qi Mocking was deeply attracted by her innocence and strength, and began to approach her frequently, using all kinds of despicable means to seduce and deceive, and even went against her beliefs for her and fell into the whirlpool of emotions. Ai unconsciously began to rely on this attention, but she didn't know that she was falling into the whirlpool of love step by step. Chapter 6 Contradictions erupt, the showdown between the master and the male protagonist. Shaizan noticed Qi Mocking's emotion for Ai, and set off a huge wave in his heart. The once cold face gradually emerged with uneasiness and jealousy. Late at night, Qi Mocking broke into the Taoist temple, and the three finally confronted each other. Shaizan exerted his whole body Dao method and started a life and death struggle with Qi Mocking. Ai is caught between the two, in pain, but she finds that her internal strength and mind are gradually awakening, and she can sense the emotions and strength of the two at the same time. Chapter 7 Emotional Disputes and Truth Revealed. As the confrontation intensified, Shaizan finally confided in his heart and admitted the truth about his illness. It was not an ordinary strange disease, but a spell related to the soul contract, which only Ai's wish and power could unravel. Qi Mocking also confessed that he was originally ordered to protect Ai, but he really fell in love with her in the process, and it was not a simple task. Ayar begins to understand that she is not only a sick and weak girl, but the key to the entire torrent of fate. The two fight for her, which is both a trial and a redemption. Underscore 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 un. Chapter 8 Reversing Destiny, The Path to Breaking the Curse. Ayar decides to embark on a journey to break the curse seal, and goes through the Desert Illusion, the Heavenly Thunder Trial, and the Netherworld Labyrinth side by side with Shizun and Chi Mocking. She used a combination of Dao and sword techniques to break through her own limits, and finally completed the purification ritual of the soul contract at an ancient altar. Shizun's strange illness is lifted, and his true identity is revealed. He was once a god who had been sealed for thousands of years, and he had fallen into the mortal world because of love. Underscore 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 un. Chapter 9, The Relationship Between the Three and Future Prospects. After experiencing the wind and rain, Ayar, Shizun, and Chi Mocking established a deep bond. The master chose to stay in the mountains and continue to guide those who came after him. Chi Mocking decided to protect Ayar and travel the world with her. Ayar is no longer a sick and weak girl, but has become a peak powerhouse in both Taoism and swordsmanship, and her story will be sung forever in the rivers and lakes in Taoism. Chapter 10, Storm Rising Again, Visitors from Outside the Mountain. Just after the soul curse was lifted, the body of the Master God returned to clarity, and the three of them were about to embark on the way home, when suddenly there was a strange movement outside the mountain. A black-clothed army swept across the foot of the mountain like a gale, aiming directly at the Taoist temple of Yunwu Mountain. Aya's brows furrowed, and her intuition was that this was no ordinary violation. Chi Mocking drew his sword and stared into the distance. Someone is asking us for trouble. Shizun's eyes were deep, and he said softly, that's the pursuer of the Xianming sect, who had a deep hatred with me thousands of years ago, and now he finally found us. The Xianming sect is a notorious dark sect in the rivers and lakes, specializing in yin and evil forbidden arts, and is closely related to the power of the Master's seal. Now they covet the power of the teacher's respect for life, and vainly try to seize it and hold Ayar hostage as a bargaining chip. Underscore 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 un. Chapter 11 Fierce Battle in Formation, The Life and Death Guardian of Cloud Mountain. There was a storm in Yunwu Mountain, and the Master and Linger quickly set up a mountain protection formation. Linger's talismans flew in the wind, the sword flashed, and Chi Mocking used a fierce sword technique to fight against the sudden attack of the black-clad cultists. In the large array, thunder and lightning are added, runes are agitated, and mountains and forests are transformed into combat fields. Ayar has a strong body, infuses the aura of heaven and earth into the sword body, and turns it into a spiritual light-breaking shadow slash to cut off the enemy's position. The Master then used the divine arts of the heavenly god and Dao body to mobilize the spiritual energy of heaven and earth to strengthen the formation and resist the evil attacks of the Xianming sect. After several days of fierce fighting, the three of them defended the Taoist temple, but paid a heavy price. Chi Mocking was injured and fell to the ground, and his master's aura gradually weakened, but Ayar was shocked to realize that her strength had increased greatly in the flames of war, and she began to control the heavenly god Dao body. Underscore 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 un. Chapter 12, The Conspiracy Emerges, The True Purpose of the Xianming Cult. After much investigation, Ayar discovered that the Xianming sect was not simply trying to seize the power of the Master, but their real goal was the key to the heavenly god Dao body sealed in the Master's body, a secret that could open the ancient immortal gate and release the ancient power. Once this key falls into the hands of the Xianming sect, it will subvert the pattern of the entire Jianghu and the cultivation realm, leading to chaos in heaven and earth. Linger decided to go deep into the enemy camp, pretend to be captured, and enter the headquarters of the Xianming sect in order to find out the truth and destroy the conspiracy. Underscore 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 un. Chapter 13, Survival in the Dead Ground, Dangerous Lives in the Xianming Sect. After infiltrating the Xianming cult, Ayar faces numerous traps and trials. She used the Taoist techniques taught by her master, combined with her own dexterous body skills, to skillfully evade pursuit. In a forbidden place, she unexpectedly meets a mysterious imprisoned teenager, Mo Lycan, who is cold on the surface, but in fact delicate. Mo Lycan claimed to have been wronged by the Xianming sect because he possessed a mysterious power connected to the key to the heavenly god Dao body and escaped from the sect. The two briefly joined forces, and gradually developed trust and even emotional sparks in the crisis. Chapter 14, Praying Mantis Catches Cicadas, Prologue to Fight Back. Ir and Mo Lycan designed a fake and real design, leading to a power struggle within the Xianming sect. She skillfully provokes the top of the sect and uses mutual suspicion to create chaos. At the same time, Shizun and Qi Mocking secretly responded and regrouped their forces to prepare for a counterattack. The Xianming cult is in danger of self-disintegration, and Ir takes advantage of the chaos to successfully seize some of the secrets of the key to the heavenly god Dao body. Chapter 15, Final Battle, Shattering the Immortal Gate. The upper echelons of the Xianming sect launched a final offensive in an attempt to forcibly open the Immortal Gate. Ir, Shizun, Qi Mocking, and Mo Lycan gathered to start a decisive battle. The Immortal Gate emits a strong light, and the world is in turmoil. The four of them join hands to use the power of Taoism, swordsmanship, and the unity of spirit and body to prevent the collapse of the Immortal Gate. Ir shocked the enemy with the heaven and earth burning god dance, Shizun used the god sealing technique, Qi Mocking swung his sword to cut off the enemy's array, and Mo Lycan released the mysterious power in his body, and finally succeeded in closing the Immortal Gate. Chapter 16, A New Legend, The Peak Female Dao Leader. After the war, Ir became a new generation of guardians of the celestial Shinto Dao body, combining swordsmanship and Taoism to create an unprecedented realm of cultivation. The master returned to the mountains and forests, and continued to guide and learn. Qi Mocking accompanied Ir to walk the rivers and lakes, guarding the ordinary and peaceful. Mo Lycan became an important assistant to the Taoist temple. Ir's name is like the morning light, illuminating the rivers and lakes in the haze, and also opening a legendary chapter that belongs to her. Chapter 17, Sharing Will and Woe, Untying the Knot. After the closure of the Xianmen, the rivers and lakes gradually returned to calm, but Ir was always concerned about the emotional entanglement of Shizun, Qi Mocking, and Mo Lycan. One night, Ir was walking alone in the bamboo forest under the moonlight, and Qi Mocking quietly followed, with a low tone, Ir, are you willing to go to the end of the world with me, no matter the wind and rain? Ir stared in a daze, thinking back to the ups and downs along the way, and her heart gradually became clear, I do. At the same time, Mo Lycan was silently watching from a distance, and complex emotions flashed in his eyes. She knows that her relationship needs time to let go, and there are more trials waiting in the future. The knot in the hearts of the three gradually unraveled, and the legends on the rivers and lakes became more touching because of their bonds. Chapter 18, The Second Coming Storm, The Dark Ones Lurk. However, the darkness has not really dissipated. An even more powerful force is on the horizon, the Netherworld. Hidden in the deep valleys at the edge of the rivers and lakes, they possess terrifying powers to control the dead and ghosts, and their targets are Ir celestial spirits. Ir, Qi Mocking, and Mo Lycan join hands and are determined to face this new storm. Shizun reappeared and granted Ir the ultimate magic trick, Burning God, returning to the Yuan Dafa to help her resist the invasion of the Netherworld. Chapter 19, Life and Death, The Nether Valley Strikes Back. In the Nether Valley, Linger led her companions to fight a fierce battle with the Nether clan. She used the Burning God returning to the origin method, her figure was as dazzling as a flame, she slew demons and exterminated ghosts, and was invincible. During the battle, Mo Lycan was seriously injured. In order to save Ir, and Qi Mocking protected himself with a sword, and finally stuck to his faith on the edge of life and death. At the last moment, Ir opened the final form of the celestial Shinto Dao body, and the light shone brightly, sweeping away the darkness of the Netherworld. Chapter 20, Song of the Soul of the Town. Peace appears in the rivers and lakes again. The Netherworld was defeated, and the rivers and lakes finally ushered in the long-lost peace. Ir has become the patron saint of a new generation of rivers and lakes, and her reputation has spread far and wide. Qi Mocking and Ir returned to Liangcheng hand in hand, ushering in the blessings of her parents and master, and the former sick and weak girl has turned into a strong female Daoist. After Imo-Lycan recovered, he chose to stay in the Daoist temple and became the most solid backing for Ir and Chi Mocking. The three of them stood side by side, and the rivers and lakes once again opened a new chapter. Underscore 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 un. Chapter 21, The Ending, The Legend Lives On. Under the interweaving of rivers and lakes and Daemon, the stories of Ir, Chi Mocking, and Imo-Lycan have become immortal legends. Ir combines Taoism and swordsmanship to cultivate batches of talents and create a new era of Taoism that belongs to her. Chi Mocking became an invincible swordsmanship master in the rivers and lakes, while Imo-Lycan delved into mysterious powers and guarded the door of the soul. Their fetters transcend life and death, carved in every inch of the rivers and lakes, and sung every night. Underscore 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 un. Postscript. A growth legend from weak to strong, from confused to determined. Liang Ir's story has both the mystery of fairy fantasy and the warmth of human sophistication. With fearlessness and perseverance, she defeated the shackles of fate and guarded the people she loved. Love, family, and friendship are intertwined in the magnificent rivers and lakes, making this moving story a reality. I hope that every reader can find their own courage and light in this story.